Welcome, everybody. I am Michelle Jacobson, for those who do not know my name. And this was originally a fundraiser for Pramila, mostly by educators for Pramila. And I just wanted to say a couple of things about why I especially love Pramila. And I'm so excited that she is going to be the first woman to represent the 7th District Congressional Democrat. I have notes. First of all, I taught for 20 years at Rainier Beach High School. My daughter Rachel teaches English language learners at Van Asselt. And so Pramila was one of the foremost people in the Equity and Opportunity Oversight Accounting organization. And that, and I'm reading, that was for Model Policy for Language Translation and Interpretation for Limited English-Speaking Parents. And she also fought for additional funding for special ed. I taught special needs students for 20 years and bilingual special needs students. I am thrilled that Bernie Sanders endorsed Pramila, and of course 350.org.
Bill McKibben.
Bill McKibben. I heard you speak on the Tom Hartman show yesterday.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard that yet.
It was great. It was great. And then this morning I heard the president of the National Organization of Women speak about all the wonderful things that Pramila does for women. So with that, I would like to turn this over to the three co-hosts, and we'll start with Roberta Lindemann.
Thanks. We won't make this very long because we know that you really want to listen to what Pramila has to say. But it's really a pleasure for me to be able to support her, even though I don't get to vote for you.
I know. Your
I
grandfather
know.
did.
It's such a bummer. We used to be able to. We voted for McDermott for many, many, many years. But it's still, nevertheless, she will be representing all of us. And one of the things is that even though I didn't have the opportunity to work directly with Pramila during her tenure at One America, I did have the opportunity to work with some of the people that she hired to work for her. And to me, there's two things about a good leader. I mean, there's a lot of things, but two are making sure that you've got the right people working for you. You know, that's a big one. And the other one is what you stand for and what are the causes that you stand for. So as a teacher at Chief Sealth High School, I worked in a program called Proyecto Saber. And I had the pleasure of working with Maha for many years because Maha was asked to go and work with youth. She came to our school. I was very happy to try and help her recruit youth. And it was an amazing experience for these young people. They developed leadership skills, but they developed leadership skills through actually becoming activists in the community. And I remember they would work on the redistricting.
Yeah.
I know that they went to some of the testimony for that. Yeah. They went down to Olympia. They would go to a city council meeting. And Maha was always directing them to go here, there, and they had an amazing experience. And they developed so much from that. And I know that Pramila is going to be able to continue that kind of commitment to youth, to education, to teachers. You've probably seen that she has a long list of endorsement of labor unions, and that includes the Washington Education Association and the AFT, and I believe the SEA, our local.
Yeah, and the UAW. Every single education union.
So obviously she's won a lot of hearts, and the fact that she has only been in that legislature, it's amazing to me that in that short time that she's been in the state legislature, that she's shown herself and she's convinced many people about her ability to lead us all the way to DC. And so I'm going to stop it with that and turn it over to Rick. All right.
All right, well, thank you, Roberta. Thank you, Pramila, for being here. I'm Rick Harwood, and I think a lot of what Roberta said are the very similar reasons why I'm excited to be able to help host this event and support your candidacy. I worked in public education in Seattle and Highline School District for 35 years, the last 10 years of which I was principal at Global Connections High School in SeaTac, part of the Highline School District, a school that was 40% immigrant students and ELL students and 90% free and reduced lunch students. And around the time that school got started in 2005, Hate Free Zone was very active in the immigrant community, supporting immigrant rights. And we were always, as a staff, trying to support students and encourage students to have their voices be heard and be involved and have their rights defended. And I think you wrote an op-ed piece in the Seattle Times that caught my attention, and I thought, this is somebody that we want to have come to our school and speak to our students. We want our students to see what an activist looks like and hear from an activist firsthand. And you did come, I think it was like within a couple of weeks, and it wasn't a speech, it was a conversation with a group of students, and the students were so impressed and felt so empowered by the work that you were doing and the organization that you had helped start, Hate Free Zone, which is now One America, that it just made them feel stronger and more confident in their own lives in that community and in the greater Seattle community and as recent immigrants to the United States. So having a person with that strength of belief and commitment to now be potentially our congressperson in this district really, I think, says a lot and will say a lot for the young people who are looking for people like you, Pramila, as examples of the kinds of things that they could be doing as activists in their own lives to defend the rights of people whose rights are in danger. It got me really happy to hear that Jim McDermott finally decided to retire, and that there was an opportunity, because a lot of the congressional positions in this state and in many states are Congress people for life, and the opportunities don't come along very often. And so when Jim did decide to retire and you jumped in, I was thrilled to hear that, and I know a lot of people were. I'll finish with saying that some of the things that have been going on in the Democratic convention about Hillary Clinton being the first woman to be nominated to run for president in this country, and what that means to young women and to young people in general in this country, says a lot. But I think even more significantly, to have a woman like you, Pramila, running for office in this community and being visible to young people, especially young people of color and immigrant young people, to see that a strong voice will be representing them and that they will want to be a part of what you're doing in Congress, I think really makes your candidacy so much more important than anything else that's going on right now. So we're happy that you're running and happy to be able to host you, and we'll be working to see that you get elected. And
hi, I'm Doug Edelstein. I'm a teacher at the Seattle Public Schools. I'm a history teacher. And those two guys said just about everything I was going to say. Thank you. Which we're going to talk about later, I guess, the three of us. But anyway, I wanted to talk about what Pramila's candidacy means to me as an educator and to teachers and students. We live in Orwellian times right now. We're watching things happen that have never happened before in our country. We're watching people who are trying to make facts not matter, who are trying to make science obsolete, who are trying to rule by passion and hate and bigotry rather than reason and information and knowledge. And that's a thing that works against education in a fundamental way. It sort of denies the value of education. So I think that Pramila's candidacy is especially important to students because it offers a chance for them to see two really important things. One of them is that they're not powerless in the world. The politics of today argue that young people can't be effective in their world. But Pramila, throughout her career, has demonstrated the very famous statement that power comes from the public action of groups of people, of communities. That it's not necessarily the authority of office or the dictatorship of lies or propaganda that tells you what power is. It's the actions of communities. She's demonstrated that successfully through her whole life. And the other thing is that education matters, that facts do matter, that science does matter, that community does matter, that history matters. and that every single life matters, and especially those lives that are being threatened by discrimination and police brutality and the insanity that has possessed us, the gun insanity particularly. So Pramila's candidacy means a lot of things specifically. She has advocated for free community college, which will be a brilliant thing for our students, and a very hopeful thing, because you wouldn't believe the kind of defeat that exists in the minds of our students when they contemplate the costs of college. And we have an excellent community college system here that's second to none, and to have access to that for everybody would be a brilliant thing for our state and our whole country, as an example. Other things, just in terms of why she's gotten endorsements from the teachers union. She pleads for sanity in teaching, like best practice assessment instead of high-stakes standardized tests, and full funding for education as a priority. She's already worked hard for that in the legislature. For wraparound services, but less directly, but still as importantly, she talks about improving the lives of young people in general, changing the basis of our taxation system so we can fund our schools well by changing our tax system to an income tax in the state of Washington. Those are really tough issues and really unpopular issues that are going to take the persuasive voice and the public action of communities of people. So I'm really fundamentally, I think that Pramila stands head and shoulders above all the other Democratic candidates. And of course, the Republican candidates are non-existent. But yeah, they live in a world I don't even think they can describe coherently. In order to survive against that, because for them the time for thinking is over, and for us the time for thinking and action has to combine with action. So let's vote, and later on I'm going to ask you for money. So let's think about that too. So
There you go. Get down to the ball.